Helen Keller was born June 27, 1880, in the quaint town of Tuscumbia, Alabama. She was born a perfectly healthy baby with the ability to hear and see. However, in February of 1882, at the age of just 19 months, her parents, Arthur and Kate Keller, were devastated when she acquired scarlet fever, resulting in the loss of her ability to hear or see. From then on, life was very difficult for Helen. She was what many called a wild child because she often rebelled, which I think is out of frustration of not being able to communicate or comprehend what was around her. However, in March of 1887, Helen arrived at Perkins School for the Blind, where she met Anne Sullivan, a woman who also had terrible vision, but helped give Helen the ability to communicate. Anne would continue to make an influence on Helen's life, and would not only be her great teacher, but also her best friend.
Helen Keller was completely frustrated as a little girl, as any little girl would be who couldn't see, nor hear, nor communicate properly.
Her concerned parents sought out the advice and assistance of Dr. Alexander Graham Bell. It was through his intervention that Anne Sullivan entered Keller's life. Sullivan's job was to teach the 7-year-old Helen how to communicate, a daunting task when one considers Helen's circumstances.
One day, she takes Helen to the water pump. She gets the water running, she puts Helen's hand under the water, and then she simultaneously also signs water into Helen's hand. And Helen then learns the connection between the symbols that she is making into the child's hand and the word that it is. From then on, her vocabulary just expanded at a staggering rate. Anne was by far the most important thing in Helen Keller's life.
With Anne by her side, Helen connected with the world around her and learned quickly.
Helen then learned how to write in Braille and also the regular alphabet that we know today. When Helen was just 13 years old, she and Anne moved to New York, where she attended another school for the blind, followed by the Cambridge School for Young Ladies and Radcliffe College, which was the women's equivalent to Harvard, who did not admit women at that time. She was very intelligent and was the first deaf and blind woman to graduate college. She also wrote 14 books in her lifetime, wrote many other various works, and gave multiple speeches. Each of these were a great accomplishment for Helen. She went on to do great things for the blind, as well as making strides in women's rights. She joined the suffrage movement and was also a radical socialist, which she would later be greatly criticized for. She was so radical, in fact, that the Nazis in World War II burned one of her socialist books. She previously protested World War I and was a member of numerous political groups and groups who contributed to the blind. In addition to her serious life, Helen also loved the spotlight. She starred in movies and went on tours in her younger years. She even won an Academy Award. Helen also enjoyed the fancies of other people like us, including good food and wine. Helen died quietly at home in Arkan Ridge in 1968. Even after her death, Helen's influence has continued to make strides for women, the deaf, and the blind.
Let's go!
I said, shush, girl, shut your lips, do the Helen Keller, and talk with your hips. I said, shush, girl, shut your lips,